The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
The content heard on the Ask Dr. Tommy O Show is for informational or educational purposes only and does not substitute professional medical advice or consultation with healthcare professionals.
Hi, this is Dr. Thomas O'Brien. For almost 25 years, I specialize in offering families an affordable concierge service to avoid paying costly medical insurance or unreachable deductibles without giving up premium health care. As an osteopath, I offer osteopathic adjustments alongside medical examinations. Also, I offer discounts to military and first responders. I am now accepting no-fault patients, which include osteopathic adjustments, medical treatments, and prescription services, including medical marijuana. At my practice, my patients never pay copays and still receive the most personal and complete medical care. I have spent my career devoted to providing healthcare at affordable prices. Everybody should have a relationship with their physician. I work for you and your family. The honor and privilege is mine. If you have been in an automobile accident, please call my office at 631-980-8200 for an immediate appointment. To learn more about me and my practice, visit drtomio.com. Again, I am accepting no-fault patients. Call my office for an immediate appointment, 631-980-8200. Welcome to the Ask Dr. Tommy O Show. I'm your host, Dr. Thomas O'Brien. The Ask Dr. Tommy O Show can be heard every Wednesday at 4 p.m. on 103.9 LI News Radio. I offer a very affordable concierge practice which allows you access to the quality care you really deserve. With no rush office visits, both you and I can take our time and discuss your healthcare needs. As your primary care physician, it is important for me to have a baseline knowledge of your health. I look at you when you're speaking, I listen to what you're saying, and I feel you both physically and emotionally. This way, when you come to my office not feeling well, knowing your history allows me to properly diagnose and treat your illness. Call my office today and schedule a history and physical. To my military family, I got your 6. To my Masonic brothers, the light is bright. Before we get into today's topic, I'd like to wish everyone a wonderful and happy Hanukkah, as well as Merry Christmas. Christmas is just a couple days away. On the airing of the second show, because it airs today live, and then we have a second show which will be Christmas this Sunday. So happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas. Today's topic: health tips for a safe and healthy holiday. That's right, a safe and healthy holiday. It is the holiday season, but this applies all year round. All right, so let's just talk about some topics. And this is 8 CDC health tips for a safe and healthy holiday. All right, so we need to eat healthy and be active. All right, so we all know it's challenging to eat during the holiday season. Other people are preparing your foods because we go to families, and not everyone prepares the food the same way. Especially, you're going to have people who use a lot of salt. So for individuals who suffer from congestive heart failure, we know statistically that we can graph out in the ER anywhere from 1 to 3 days after a holiday. Those who suffer from congestive heart failure usually have an acute exacerbation of congestive heart failure. What is congestive heart failure? That's something that I covered in a previous show. And that's the heart is a pump. We have pump failure, and then you have fluid building up. We can have fluid building up in the lungs and in the lower extremity, depending on how severe it is. So what we want to do is eat. Be cautious with your foods. If you're tasting, salt hitting your tongue, you should back off on that food and say maybe there's a little bit too much salt. Also, alcohol, okay, adult beverages. So you want to be smart about that. So, again, you're getting together with family and friends and you want to have some adult beverages. Just be smart about what you're drinking and eating. We know that 2 ounces a day is suggested that is a health healthy, what is acceptable. But then once you go beyond that, if you start thinking about 2 ounces, what's 2 ounces? Really not that much. I think it's 2 shot glasses. So you have to be smart. Okay. Then drinking and driving during the holiday, you have to be smart about that as well. Do not drink and drive. If you're drinking and you have a little bit too much, have someone drive you home or call a driver's service. So you have to be smart about it. Be aware of yourself as well as your community and your surroundings. These individuals who get DWIs or who are involved in an alcohol-related driver's accident, motor vehicle accident, usually they're not aware of what happened, and it's the other individual who ends up, not surviving the accident. So let's be smart and take care of each other, work as a family, work as a community, a global community. Again, so let's be careful with what we eat. Just make smarter choices. Let's keep the sodium down. Complex carbohydrates. I know there's, going to have a lot of sweets there, but try to make better choices. Keep the alcohol consumption down. The active aspect, try to do some aerobic exercise. If you can, go out and walk. I know it's cold out here in New York right now, but still, if you can, walk the mall. You see the mall walkers. Walk indoors. If you go to a gym, you can use the treadmill. Some gyms have a track. Or if there is an indoor track in your community, use the indoor track so we can walk. It is recommended you want to do minimum 3 times a week, 30 minutes of aerobics, but I say more. You really need 6 because that recommendation was back in the 1970s, and our body habitus was a lot different. We were a lot leaner. And you could get away with 3 30-minute aerobic activity. Today, I'm pushing more for 60 minutes, and so we can really start burning those calories. All right, so also the CDC recommends getting the flu shot. All right, now flu season starts late August, early September, right through February. December, January, February is what we call the peak of the flu season. And here in New York, especially the Long Island metro area, we're seeing a peak with flu. And the COVID is coming back, but again, we're going to get through this. Not to panic. We're okay. We survived it. We're going to build our immune system. We're going to build antibodies. But for those individuals who are high risk, it is highly recommended that you get your flu shot. It's important. We have a couple more months, and even you can go all the way through to May to get a flu shot. But right now, this is the time if you need it, especially the seniors, the elderly, high-risk individuals. Get a flu shot. Food safety. We want to watch out for food poisoning. Again, someone's preparing your food or they are bringing food in from some caterers. Again, you don't know who's preparing your food. When they prepare your food, you got to make sure you hand wash, because if you don't wash your hands after you use the restroom, and then you prepare the food, you can contaminate that food. Or if the food is undercooked, okay, and you're eating food that's undercooked, and you can end up with being sick, like a gastroenteritis, and that's something we want to decrease the risk for. So what do? We said that each year it's estimated 1 in 6 Americans get sick from eating contaminated food. So what do we want to do? We want to take steps to prevent that. You want to wash your hands and work surfaces before, during, and after preparing the meals. Okay, remember, also cross-contamination, mixing foods. You want to make sure you don't mix foods. All right, wash your surfaces, your countertops, and then even the utensils that are using to prepare the food. Make sure you clean it or you have separate utensils. Also, keep your raw meat, as I just said, separate everything. Then cook the food at the right temperature. We don't want to undercook. Okay, because we need to cook at the appropriate temperature for the appropriate amount of time. This will kill the viruses or bacteria that are found within the food, okay? Because the last thing you want to do is serve contaminated food and you get everyone there. It's a holiday, you have your friends and family there and everyone gets sick. I see, on occasion, we will see that people come in and they get sick and it turns out everyone who was at that party was sick. So we want to, reduce the risk for that. Refrigerate your foods, including leftovers, within 2 hours of buying or cooking the food, because if it sits out room temperature, that's when we start to see bacteria growing. So let's minimize that risk. Hand washing. You want to make sure you hand wash with soap. The other would be with the alcohol-based hand sanitizer, and you want at least minimum 60% alcohol. And this is something I spoke about the last show, where we were talking about risks and transmission of infection from patient to patient, that in the early 90s we had the alcohol-based hand sanitizers in the wall, so that between patients we would, a couple of pumps and then wash our hands and clean our stethoscopes with an alcohol pad. This will reduce the risk for transmitting infections. All right, so I got 30 seconds left. That's how fast the show goes. All right, so part one. All right, so come and join my practice. Let me help you lead a happier and healthier life. If you wait, it may be too late. So let's not wait and make that phone call. The new year is right here, right now. So let's set up a history and physical. Call my office at 631-980-8200, 631-980-8200, and schedule a history and physical. Come and join my practice. You're going to be family. I keep saying that. It's so important. You want to have an excellent relationship with your physician. Welcome back to the Dr. Tommy O Show. I'm your host, Dr. Thomas O'Brien. I offer a very affordable concierge practice, which allows you access to the quality care you really deserve. With no rush office visits, both you and I can take our time and discuss your healthcare needs. As your primary care physician, it is important for me to have a baseline knowledge of your health. I look at you when you're speaking, I listen to what you're saying, and I feel you both physically and emotionally. This way, when you come to my office not feeling well, knowing your history allows me to properly diagnose and treat your illness. All right, so that's an important statement that I say. I look at you when you're speaking, and listen to what you're saying, and feel you both physically and emotionally. When you go to most practices today, the physician, 5 minutes, one complaint. That's it. 5 minutes, one complaint. And half the time, their back is to you, and they're typing away. When you do this, do you really know your patient? Or do you really have a relationship with your physician? The answer is no. In my practice, you don't have that. I will sit with you, and actually I stand leaning against my countertop as I'm, jotting down some notes, but I'm listening to you, and then I give you a real exam. Most of my patients that come in, the first comment is say, wow, I've never had a physical like that, because I start going over stuff that I've learned over 30 years ago. That has not changed. Medicine has not changed. The approach has changed, and my approach has not changed. It's the same as it was that I learned over 30 years ago. So if you want to join my practice, give us a phone call. If you want a real relationship, a true relationship with a physician that really cares about you, not only you, but the community, call my office. Schedule an appointment. To learn more about my office, go to drtommyo.com. That's drtommyo.com. All right, so let's continue. Remember, Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas. So today's topic was 8 CDC health tips for a safe and healthy holiday. So I ended off with, we said about the cooking, safety, get your flu shot, eat healthy, be active. Again, the food safety was making sure you prepare your food appropriately. So let's start off with cold weather and safety and home heating. This is important. This is something that gets overlooked, and it's every season, every year, and I'm guilty of this because, you really have to look at your AC, your filters. Check your filters out. You're supposed to change your filters every 3 months. Because you have all dust particles and bacteria that starts building up, and then it can contaminate the entire house. Also, you should check your heating system. What you do is you have a contract with a heating company, an AC company, a HVAC company, and they will inspect your heating system. You want to make sure your heating system is working appropriately. One, for efficiency, okay? We want to save on costs. You know how expensive it is to live on Long Island. I mean, it's one of the highest cost of living place to live in the nation, and probably one of the highest in the world. So let's be smart and have our system as efficient as possible, especially if you live in a home that's 10, 20, 30, well, it's probably 20 years is pretty good. But if you're living in a home that's 50 to 75 or even 100 years old, you're not going to have an efficient system unless you upgrade it. So have someone come in and inspect. What are we going to inspect for? Well, you want to make sure all the plumbing's working. The plumbing's tight. You want to make sure your plumbing's not oxidizing. You want to make sure there's no leaks in your tank. You want to make sure that you don't have the carbon monoxide that's building up, and that's why it is recommended to have your fire alarm, okay, your fire system, okay, as well as a carbon monoxide detector. If you have carbon monoxide poisoning, that is extremely difficult to treat. We have to blow off the carbon monoxide because the affinity to the red blood cells 1,000 times stronger than oxygen. All right, so it's very, very difficult to treat. So you want to make sure everything's inspected, everything's updated, and gets the stamp of approval. Also, it's cold out, so let's talk about the cold, right? So now, when you're going out, you want to make sure you're dressed appropriate. Keep a hat on. You want to make sure something's on your head because you're going to lose the heat from your head. When I had hair, I didn't, you're like, I got plenty of hair. No, you still need a hat. Now, I definitely need a hat because I don't have enough hair. Also, you want to go out and dress in layers, okay? Make sure you dress in layers. The more layers you have, the better it is because you're going to prevent the loss of heat. We want to maintain the heat. Wear your socks. You want to make sure you keep your feet warm. I'm guilty because I always go around without socks. But when it really gets cold out, I will put socks on. Again, safety precautions when recreational. When you go outside in your recreational activities, you want to make sure you have gloves on, wearing a helmet depending on the activity. Just be smart and so you know your surroundings. Go out. When you go out, my wife this morning, she walked the dog 5 o'clock in the morning, and that's right. We're talking. Want to wish happy Hanukkah to Baby Cakes, Cookie, and Jelly Bean. When she goes out walking the dog early, she brings her cell phone with her, so if there's an emergency, she can call me. All right, so we have that. So let's get into. We have the injuries, coping with stress. All right, so we know the holidays are very stressful. So what do we want to do? All right, so we want to work on our coping mechanisms. I covered this in a previous show as well. So we want to make sure you're healthy, make sure you're eating right, and emotionally, we want to be emotionally sound. We want to have really excellent, strong coping mechanisms. You need to be surrounded by friends and family during this time. You don't want to be a loner. I discussed that. We know those people who live alone, who are loners, they have a shorter lifespan. So surround yourself with friends and family. Share a laugh. We know laughing is healthy, and it helps us spiritually and as well as emotionally. We get those happy drugs in the brain. It gets it flowing. I discussed this. I'm going to keep hammering this, how important this is. All right, so travel safety. Well, we got a little less than 3 minutes. Travel safety. Okay, so winter storms, cold temperatures can be very dangerous. So when you're traveling, all right, so we're going to go to the airport. You want to make sure you get there early. Okay, so when I travel, I get to the airport about 2 hours early, all right, because you have to go through security. We all know how stressful security is, so let's reduce the stress. Get there earlier because people are going to be stressed up. They're going to be stressed out. They're going to be acting up, acting out. You don't want to be a part of that, all right? Get there early so you can go through the lines nice and relaxed, okay? Know the rules and regulations and just go through the flow and you'll be fine. Again, prepare. Don't drink and drive. I discussed that earlier. Let others drive, or call a taxi service. Like I said, wear a helmet, wear your seatbelt. Again, that is law. So make sure you're wearing your seatbelts. Again, if you're going to travel abroad, okay, this is abroad now, make sure you have all your vaccinations. So if you're going to be traveling, go on to the any website, international travel website, and specifically put in the country, and they'll tell you what vaccinations are required. And you need minimum 4 to 6 weeks before you travel to have your vaccinations. All right, you want to protect yourself. You don't want to be a different country. Their healthcare system is not the same as ours. You're not going to get the kind of care we get here. So reduce the risk. Be prepared. Anyone traveling more than 4 hours, all right, this is recommended. You're on the plane. You're not moving. You want to move your lower extremities. Get up and walk. Walk back and forth. Walk to the bathroom. We want to make sure we get that circulation flowing. We want to reduce the risk for deep vein thrombosis, blood clots. We know that women in their 4th decade and their smokers who are on birth control are extremely high risk for developing blood clots. So let's reduce the risk. Get up and walk, stretch. You go nowhere. You're just on the plane, so let's take a walk. Go back and forth, and then sit down. You do that a couple of times. While you're sitting there, do pedal pumps, gas brake, gas brake, gas brake. Pedal pumps. Get that blood flowing. All right, so I have 30 seconds left. Part 2 is now over. I didn't even get into prevent injuries. That's how time flies. All right, to learn more about my practice, go to drtomio.com. That's drtomio.com. Or you can give me a call, 631-980-8200. Call the office to schedule a history and physical. Start the new year off right. Give me a call today.
The content heard on the Ask Dr. Tommy O Show is for informational or educational purposes only and does not substitute professional medical advice or consultation with healthcare professionals.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.